So, there we go, speculation has ended. We now know when Doctor Who is returning, Christmas 2026, for a special penned by Russel T Davies. But what will that special involve? What will the plot lines be? What will the returning elements be? How will it end up? Let the speculation begin. Here is 5 of my hopes and predictions for the Christmas special 2026. Hello, welcome to Culture Filter. I am the Fill-In Filter, and this is where I talk about all the geeky pop culture that I like, including an awful lot about Doctor Who. So if you like Doctor Who, do subscribe down below for more videos just like this, where we speculate about what's going to come up. Now, we've got a bit of a long wait. We've got over a year wait till the next episode of Doctor Who. But it was announced yesterday that we will be getting new episodes. The news broke while I was at Chessington World of Adventures theme park, and my dedication to bringing breaking news had me filming a video while in the queue for a ride. The people around me must have thought I was nuts.
Why do they announce stuff when I'm out and I can't make a proper video? I'm at Chessington World of Adventures, but some Doctor Who news just dropped.
If you want to see that, it's a very short 2-minute video just sort of announcing what had been announced, talking about what had been announced, and you can find that as the previous video on my channel. But back to this one, what we're going to talk about today is what I think might happen and what I hope will happen in this Christmas special. And I want to hear your thoughts below as well, so let me know in the comments what your hopes and predictions are for this special. What do you want to see happen? What do you want the plot to be? What do you want to see? Which loose ends do you want to see most tied up? Let me know all of that in the comments down below. So my first one is that wrapping up of lingering plot threads. We've got a few. I don't actually think we're going to necessarily get all of them wrapped up, but there are some key ones that I would definitely like to see wrapped up. The biggest one is Susan. Because those visions that the Doctor had in the Interstellar Song Contest kind of, well, they went nowhere, did they? There is no payoff to that at all so far, so we really need some payoff to that. This is the first companion of the series from the very first episode back in 1963. They can't tease us like that and not give us some payoff. So hopefully Carol Ann Ford is back as Susan in some kind of plotline. That's my prediction. What my hopes for that plotline are that I made a whole video about a theory that Susan is the boss. I think that is still relevant here. I think she could be the infamous boss that has been referred to multiple times throughout this new era of the show, throughout the Disney Plus era of the show. So I think that could possibly get a bit of combined payoff there. Given that this is almost certainly going to be Carol Ann Ford's final Doctor Who appearance, I would like to see possibly a regeneration into a new actor for the role, with the potential for her to pop up, or him to pop up again in the future, but left in a way that doesn't necessitate it, that we can just leave it here, or, you know, the character is still around to pick up on later on in a new form. One thing I really hope isn't part of it is the original rumoured plan that she was going to be Poppy's daughter. I never liked that idea. I don't think I would have liked it had I seen it on screen. I would have tried to keep an open mind to it, but, you know, and I would have accepted it. Once it's on screen, it's on screen. But given that it never got to on screen, I'm really hoping they've pivoted to a different origin for her. Even if they need to reference her origin, they might not need to reference it at all, and probably best to steer clear from that personally. But definitely would not like to see her being Poppy's daughter still. And given how the storyline was changed and Poppy was left at the end there, I don't think that's likely. So fingers crossed. So I do think we'll get a wrap up of the boss, and I do think we'll get the wrap up of Susan in terms of the ongoing plot threads there. I'm not so sure we'll get anything on Rogue, partly because getting the actor back might be difficult, but also just I don't think it necessary. It's not as big as a loose end. I think you can just leave him there in that hell dimension and it will be okay. I know there are probably people out there who are big fans of that plotline who want it resolved, and if they can find a way to squeeze it in without taking too much time away from other elements of the plot, fine, do it. But I don't necessarily think it's necessary. So I don't think they're going to do that. My next prediction, another one that I've made a video about before, is that Billie Piper is not playing the Doctor as such. I think she's some kind of other entity. I went into various options in my previous video, so check that out, but things like the Bad Wolf entity, or the Moment, or something else, or the TARDIS, or something where it's not the Doctor. But I do think, next prediction, she will be teaming up with David Tennant's 14th Doctor. He's kind of dropped a few hints that he'd be up for returning again in various panel conventions and interviews and things. So I think it's probably likely we'll be seeing David Tennant in this. And it's got to be a ratings draw, hasn't it, as well? They're going to want this to do well, and having the team up of Billie Piper and David Tennant again is going to draw in audiences. So yeah, I suspect we might get that. Next, I'm predicting Daleks. We haven't seen the Daleks on screen for a few years. The last time was that little Children in Need short with David Tennant's 14th Doctor back in 2023. And the year before that for a proper appearance. I think it's time to bring them back. I was an advocate of resting them for a bit. I liked that idea. What I do not like is the fact that Ncuti didn't get an episode with them, which is a shame. In hindsight, I wish they'd come back earlier. But I did respect the idea to rest them. But now I think it is time to bring them back. And, again, this divides opinion, but I think they should be brought back in their modern Bronze era design. Look, we can have a whole debate of whether or not they should be redesigned for the next series or whatever, but for this, it's likely, okay, another prediction here, this is going to be Russel T Davies' last episode as showrunner of Doctor Who. I think he's going to be he's been given this special to wrap up his plot lines, to give it a send-off, to keep it running and ticking and make sure we have at least an episode of Doctor Who every calendar year until they've had time to set up whatever comes next, which I predict will be some point in 2027, where we will get a new showrunner. And because of that, if it is Russel T Davies' last episode, it doesn't make sense to redesign the Daleks now. However you feel about them, even if you feel they need a redesign, let's save that for a new era and a new showrunner who can put their mark on it. Let's not have a redesign now to just have another redesign next year, or have a redesign now for a new showrunner to be stuck with a redesign that they didn't conceptually come up with. Let's stick to the bronze ones. If it's Russel T Davies' last episode, that, is a nice full circle background to the design that he started in 2025 that was in his first season when he relaunched the show. And here's a final, not prediction, because I don't actually think this is likely, but what might be quite nice is if we do have the Daleks, for Ncuti to come back. Not necessarily for the whole episode, maybe just for like the last 15 minutes of the special, but giving him a chance to fight the Daleks. To have that episode with the Daleks, to have that encounter with the Daleks. And then at the end of that, perhaps him and David Tennant's 14th Doctor can re-merge, debigenerate, is that what you would call it? Debigenerate, to then regenerate into the actual 16th Doctor. What Billie Piper's role in that is, I don't know. That would be, I think, a fitting ending to the era. It would give Ncuti a chance to battle the Daleks, which he hasn't had, and I think he deserves. And then a clean slate from then on in. Whether or not it ends with the kind of fade to black mid-regeneration, not seeing who the next Doctor is, that's an option. Or it does, if they have cast the next Doctor by that point, they could regenerate into him, but not leave it on like a cliffhanger. Like a new regeneration doesn't have to be a cliffhanger. In a way, Ncuti's wasn't. Kind of went off to have his adventures. And I think if we did get a regeneration and it ended like that, no exploding of the TARDIS, no falling from the TARDIS or anything like that, just goes into it and heads off for new adventures. And then the next season can pick up with that actor as the Doctor, but in a very accessible way, sort of like they did in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston, in introducing him that way, where the audience, for any new audiences, are introduced to him fresh, mid-adventure, and it's an indefinitive, what's the word? Anyway, you know what I mean. An unknown amount of time between that special and the beginning of the next season. Who knows how many adventures he will have been on in between, but we can reintroduce him then, or them then. It could be a woman, of course, we can reintroduce them then and move on and have a completely fresh setup without any huge ties to the previous eras. And I think that's what this era did wrong. It did too much linking back to what had previously come, and it just wasn't accessible. So we need that fresh start after this special. But that's my thoughts and predictions and hopes for this new special. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. And I'm sure we'll be talking about this lots more as and when we get more information. We've of course got the war between the land and the sea to come before that. So we've still got Doctor Who Whoniverse content to come at some point this year, I think now. It said 2020, late 2025. So final prediction, that is going to come on Christmas Day. That's going to be the replacement for the Christmas special, and then run every week until it for 5 weeks into the new year. And then at the end of next year, we'll get the special, and then probably spring 2027, we'll get a new season with a new showrunner. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. What are your predictions? What are your hopes for this special? What do you want to see? And I'll be back soon. And if you fancy it, it's no new information that wasn't in this video, but you know, if you fancy seeing me talking to you in a queue at a theme park, check out my news video from yesterday.